All right, Shalom. Those who just join in live on the internet. Now we back again. Chapter 10, Deuteronomy. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 10. In Deuteronomy chapter 10, what we're going to touch on is recovering from our fall. Israelite recovering from their wickedness. In chapter 10, it begins. This is after Moses came down from the mountain, so that the Israelites, or we, were getting wicked. And we already know what happened. He prayed and petitioned for us before the Most High. And now we're going to read what happened next. Chapter 10, verse 1. At that time, the Lord said unto me, "You thee 2 tablets of stone like unto the first, and come up unto me into the mountain, and make thee an ark of wood, and make thee an ark of wood." So this was the instruction that the Most High gave Moses. He told Moses, to you, what does that mean? To you, the two tables of stone.
Oh, you.
To you.
You. That's H-E though, right?
Yeah, 2 tables of stone.
You're gonna carve out with your knife, right?
Carve out. Chisel out. To make him flat. You out 2 tables of stone.
He wanted to make it like the first one.
Right.
The first one that he smashed. He wanted to make the second. The second one's like that.
Right.
He said D. With the 2 tables of stone.
He told him to make 2 tables of stone.
Right. So he had to work on it, carve it out,
right,
and make it like this first one.
Right. And also, you got to make an ark of wood. What is the ark of wood? A box, a case. A case that made of wood. Like take
4x4s,
2x4s, or whatever. Make a box, and then put those 2 stones in the box. Verse 2. And I will write on the tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou breakest, and thou shalt put them in the ark. And I made an ark, and I made an ark of shittim wood, and hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. So Moses is explaining what he did, exactly as the Most High requested him to do. He did that, and he told us that he made it of shittim wood. And he says, into the mount, having the 2 tables in mine hand. So he went into the mount and having the 2 tables in his hand. And he wrote on the tables according to the first writing, the 10 commandments, which the Lord spake unto you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. And the Lord gave them unto me. Okay.
What happened to him?
Right.
Now, who is that who wrote it? Now, is this God writing this or is this Moses writing it?
Moses.
Moses wrote it.
Right. Moses is saying what's going on.
The Most High, he wrote the first one.
He wrote the first one and he's writing the second one. Right. Just like he wrote the first one.
Right, but Moses had to bring him the tablet.
But he actually wrote it with, God actually wrote it with the finger of God. Now, who was writing this second one? Is this Moses or is this God writing it all over?
The Most High, because he took it up there to the Most High. Let's read it again. It says, and I made an ark of shittim wood, and hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and went up. You see, you went up. Mm-hmm. You went up into the mount, having the 2 tables in mine hand, because this is the Most High that's instructed him to do that. And he went up to the Most High to get it again.
But this time he put it in the box.
Right. And he wrote on the tables according to the first writing, mm-hmm. the 10 commandments, mm-hmm. which he made, which the 10 commandments which the Lord spake unto you, mm-hmm. in the mount out of the midst of the fire, mm-hmm. in the day of the assembly, and the Lord gave them unto me. And I turned myself and came down from the mount and put the tables in the ark which I had made, and there they be, in the Lord, as the Lord commanded me. Mm-hmm. So when he came down, he put them in the ark, just as the Lord commanded him. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, but the rest of the other scriptures, who wrote them? We hear of the 10 commandments, but who wrote the other ones?
Most High.
How?
To man's finger.
To his finger.
To whose finger?
Most High did it with his finger.
No, man's finger.
You said to man's finger. He says to the Most High's finger, to the rest of the scriptures. So let's go to 2 Timothy. Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16.
Second Timothy, mm-hmm. Chapter what?
Chapter 3 and verse 16. You can read it, go by once you have it.
This is all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness.
The Most High it's inspired the scriptures. So he perfectly guided the mind of men and their fingers to write it. To write the scriptures.
So he guided them.
Right. The scriptures are the Most High's breath through the guidance, to his guidance of their mind and fingers. And they wrote the scriptures. Back to Deuteronomy now, chapter 10. Verse 6. And the children of Israel took their journey from Bethra of the children of Jachan to Mozerah. There Aaron died. And there he was buried, and Elias stead in the priest's office in his stead. From thence they journeyed unto Gadgodah, and from Gadgodah to Jabath, a land of rivers of waters. At that time, the Lord separated the tribe of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, to stand before the Lord, to minister unto him, and to bless in his name unto this day. Wherefore Levi have no part nor inheritance with his brethren. The Lord is his inheritance, according. Okay?
Levi the priest.
Right. All right, so the Lord separated the tribe of Levi. So let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 3, verse 6. Numbers chapter 3 and verse 6.
Verse 6. Go on.
It says, bring the tribe of Levi near and present them before Aaron the priest, that they may minister unto me. Our job was to be ministers unto the Most High, the Levite. Also, in the book of Numbers, go to chapter 4, verse 15. Same book of Numbers, chapter 4, verse 15.
I'll read it.
Okay?
Numbers, chapter 3.
4.
Oh, chapter 4.
Verse 15.
Numbers, chapter 4, verse 15. And when Aaron had made an end of the covenant, the sanctuary and all the vessels of the sanctuary as the camp is to set forward. After that, the son of Kuha shall come to bear it, but they shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. These things are the burden of the son of Kubah and
Kohath.
the tabernacle of the congregation.
Right, the Kohath.
Or the Kohath.
They were not to touch it lest they die. Right?
Right.
Okay. Also, Numbers 8 and 14.
You say the other one was Numbers and what?
It was Numbers 4:15.
That was 4,
Now we're going to Numbers 8:14.
and 15, and the other one. What's the one there?
8:14.
Numbers,
Chapter 8, verse 14.
Numbers chapter 8,
And I read this.
verse 14.
Numbers chapter 8, verse 14 reads, Thus shalt thou separate the Levites from among the children of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine. So the Levites are the Most High's inheritance.
Levi.
They shall be his.
Okay.
So that's Numbers 8:14.
8:14.
Go back to Deuteronomy.
And what?
Oh, now we are 10 and 10, I believe.
10.
10 and verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I stay in the mount according to the first time, 40 days and 40 night. And the Lord hearkened unto me at that time also. And the Lord would not destroy thee. Now, request made, request honored. The Most High request that was made by Moses was honored and would not be destroyed.
Right, because he requested to beg mercy.
Right. All right, so now let's go to verse 11. So every time the Most High was dealing close to us, as he was giving Moses command, so what's the next move's gonna be? Okay, the Most High deal with commandments, laws, rules, regulations, right? So let's go to 11 now. And the Lord said unto me, Arise, take thy journey before the people, that they may go and possess the land which I swear unto their fathers to give unto thee. Verse 12. And now Israel, we're going to find out what is our requirement. As Israelite, what is our requirement? It says, And now Israel, what do the Lord thy God require of thee? But to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul. Serve the Lord thy God, in other words, with who you are. Who you are, we all that you are. You got to serve the Most High with all that we are. And all that we are as a people, we are a chosen nation, right? We are a special people unto the Lord thy God. As the Most High chose us to be a special people unto himself, now we got to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. What does that mean individually to each one of us? What does that mean? Pathak. What does it mean to serve the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul?
Follow all his commandments.
Follow all his commandments. Be specific. For example, let me make it a little bit more, a little bit clearer. Like Pathak, right? You know who you are, right?
Yeah.
You know what you stand for, right?
Right.
And what you do right now, as who you are right now, how would you serve the Most High with all thine heart, with all thy soul, and everything that you do? How would you do that? What do? You go to work. So how would you behave? How would you behave serving the Lord with all thine heart, with all thy soul?
Do what I'm supposed to do at the job. Listen and do, and ask the Most High to help me.
That's it. If that's how you serve the Most High, that's how you present yourself, that's how you live as Pathak. Serve the Lord thy God. When you go to work, for example, you work as you're supposed to work. What if you're at home? How do you serve the Most High?
Pray that your day will be a good day. Start off.
I mean, you're supposed to pray. Like your behavior, overall behavior when you're home, how you supposed to act?
To good standard and doing the right thing.
Doing the right things, good standard, treat your wife right, how you cook your food at home. And every aspect has to represent who you are, serving the Most High with all thine heart, with all thine soul. We fall short every now and then, but we gotta continue to improve because we have to represent the Most High. We have to serve the Most High with all thine heart, with all thine soul. In everything that we do, and that's how we love the Most High with all thy heart, with all thy soul. And righteousness, of course. And there's no other way to serve the Most High without it being in righteousness. Anything less is unacceptable. One Most High will not accept it.
Right.
Verse 13. To keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day, for thy good. Why you say that? He says to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. What does that mean? Come on.
I say the Lord won't destroy you.
The Lord won't destroy us?
Yeah, keep his commandments. And it said for thy good. If you keep his command, he won't destroy you.
How he destroy us?
By literally destroying us.
Literally destroying us?
They wanted to literally destroy us for not keeping the commandments and the statutes.
Let me ask you this. If you do something right now, the Most High just walk and put something on you, he walk from his place or whatever or he just send an angel to, how does that happen? How do we get punished?
Well, now, it's not the same right now as it was because you got grace now. You got some time to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
At that point in time, he was so furious with them, he was going to destroy them right then and there.
At that time, yeah.
Even though after that time passed, destroy them right away because every time they got out of order, he would send another nation down there to punish them. So he was literally destroying them back then.
Literally?
Yeah. Every time they got out of hand, wasn't keeping his laws and statute commandments, and they would capture them or kill them or take them into slavery or something.
All right, so let's go to Deuteronomy. 28:1.
Who's reading?
You can read it. Because what I'm trying to get to is if the Most High literally comes every time and punish us.
Right.
Every time we commit a sin, the Most High come and punish us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it says 28 and run.
That's what I'm trying to find out how you understand it.
It shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Right. Commandments, we will be on high above all nations, right?
Right. Do the right thing.
If we do the right thing. So every time we do the wrong thing, the Most High will literally come down on us?
No. But
He will observe.
eventually it will happen.
He will observe us.
You start, as soon as you fall out of his commandments, stop doing his commandments and statutes, you start to fall on the planet Earth.
We start to fall. Okay. So which means, let me not say it yet. So the law is built with the judgment in it and rewards.
Yeah.
All right. So the law built with judgment and rewards in it. Why? Because the Most High created the ends from the beginning. Is that correct or no?
Great, what?
The ends from the beginning, which means everything that the Most High need to do is already been done. We just playing it out. Right? We just playing it out. Mm-hmm. It's not like the Most High hide somewhere and wait for you to break the law and he come down and knock you out.
Set it up.
He set it up where in the law, righteousness get rewarded with righteousness, wickedness get judged with punishment. Let's go to Isaiah 46:10. Yes, is the Most High punishing us, but it's built in. The laws of the Most High, righteousness and wickedness, we earn our reward, and accordingly, as we observe or violate his laws. Isaiah 46:10. 46:10. It's like the Most High already have a system established where that is taken care of. The Most High is not micromanage every individual. Yet that the way his system set up, the Most High is so vast and based on what we're reading here and his understanding, and the understanding that he gave us, is he already established that system. He's not pretty much like they say, trying or watching every individual, and every time something happened, he just reward you right that in there, right? Literally. Goodbye. You can read that, Isaiah 46:10.
Declaring the end from the beginning, and from times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
Okay. There's a phone that is not on mute because we're getting feedback from that line. Babu Kusha, to order. There's a line that's giving us feedback. Babu Kusha, please put it on mute.
Kahan, it should be a tab open on the web browser.
Okay.
You can do it from your end.
All right. All right. All right. So let's read that. You read it again. The Most High's laws is automatic, and that it's automatic. All right, read it.
Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my hand, and I will do all my pleasure.
Right. So he declared the end from the beginning. Right? He declares the end from the beginning. And he said everything that is purpose in his laws, everything shall be done. Anything here, it's already purpose in the law.
Already done.
It's already done and over with. And even if you go back to Genesis chapter 1, that's why we always read. Let's get it. Genesis chapter 1. The Most High is not improvising. Of course, the Most High controls all things. We cannot know exactly 100% at a time, but from what we know, from what we read,
Genesis chapter 1.
right, from what we read, the Most High can, at his pleasure, alter something here and there.
Genesis chapter 1 and 1.
Now, Genesis chapter 1, chapter 2, verse 1. You could read that. You could read it.
You got it?
We're gonna read all the way to 3.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made.
Not some of his work, but from all his work which he has made,
And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made.
Right. So the Most High is not at work 24/7 monitoring you what you do. It's already built a system for that. Right. The Most High already built a system for it. And the Most High is not there improvising. Let me check, see if it's working. Let me tweak this here. Let me tweak that there. He created a perfect system which he doesn't have to go back and fix once. Right? So if the Most High had to go back and fix things, that would make the Most High questionable on himself, right? So chapter 10, back to chapter 10 in Deuteronomy. So inherent in his laws are punishments and rewards. Just as if you plant an apple seed, you will always get, right? You cannot go back and say, oh man, I planted apple seeds and I get orange. Orange seeds gonna bring oranges, right? And that was created from the beginning. He doesn't have to go back and fix that. Deuteronomy. Right? This is man's system has to have some improvement every time. We always got to come back with version 2. Right? Version 2, version 3 upgraded version. Right? 3.1, 3.0. Apple 5, Apple 6, Apple 10. Right? The Most High doesn't work that way. Oh man, I made a mistake here. He should have done this. I should have done that. I got to go back and fix it. All right, so let's go back to Deuteronomy, where we are, for top 13. So to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. So how do we keep the commandments of God when we eat?
Say the grace.
Huh?
Say the grace.
Say the grace? How do we keep the commandments of God when we eat?
Make sure all the food is clean.
Make sure all the foods are clean. You observe the dietary law. We observe the dietary law. That's how we observe the commandments of God. How do we observe the commandments of the Most High? When we, let's say I'm going to take something random. Let's say you go to Chicken Popeye restaurant, right? The line is long. And you stand in line, right? As you stand in line, somebody jump in front of you in the line. How do you keep the commandments of God?
Jump in front of you. You don't get upset behind it. You know, because it's not working. Just let it go.
What do you mean it's not worth it? I've been in line and I waited patiently and somebody jumped in front of me and I got a ticket.
Let them know you're wrong, brother. But I'll let you go this time.
All right. That's a way. Or if you know that the line is long and I can stand long lines, right? I check the line. I want to go there, but the line is very long. But I don't like standing in line. But I'm going to, let's say if I say I'm going to stand in line anyway, right? what I have to tell myself, it's a long line, and I know myself, if somebody jump in front of me, I'm going to get upset. I'm not going to stand in the line. The chicken is not worth it. I keep it going. You see what I'm saying? Because I can stand it. I can stand standing in a long line. Because if I stand in a long line, something go wrong, I might get out of line myself. So I don't even go into the line. But if I'm in a line, I want to keep the Most High's law. There's a way I got to behave. So all that has to do with right judgment. That's keeping the laws of the Most High in this aspect right there. But in everything we do, there's an aspect of keeping the Most High's law. So keeping the Most High's law is not just coming here, observing the Sabbath service. It's that and more.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's that and more in everything we do. Do we always do it? Not always. That's why we always keep trying.
I made it. Well, okay, I'll tell you.
Right. So it says to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command this day for thy good. That's why it says for thy good. The commandment is for our own good. The Most High is already good. He just given us the blueprint how things operate here. There's a rules to this game here.
Right.
If you want to be good, you want to live a long life, a life of peace in mind, do the law. You'll be all right. You'll prosper wherever you go. You could be here, you could be in China, you could be in Jamaica, you could be in Haiti, you could be in Dominican Republic, you could be in Chile, you could be in Cuba, you could be in Europe, you could be wherever you are in the world. That law right here, if you observe it and keep it, no boundaries. You'll be good. Let's go to Joshua for your good. And I want Gubar to read this one. Wake him up real quick.
Joshua.
Come on. Joshua 1, 7 and 8.
Joshua what?
Joshua chapter 1, verse 7 to 8. You can read it, Gubar, once you got it.
Come on.
All right, Joshua 1, 7 and 8. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou may have observed to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
Okay. Let's put this in perspective. Right here it says, do not turn left or right. What does that mean? Regarding the law, do not turn left or right.
Do exactly what the law says do.
Do the right thing. We see how, you know how some people in the world, they said, you always got to think positive, man. That's the way you do it, man. You know, think positive and everything will work out, man. Is that what it's saying right here? Said, man, you always negative, man. Why you always come up with this negative stuff, man? You got to stay positive. Yeah. It's all about staying positive.
He said positive. In his own way, he says positive.
No, in this verse right here, it said, do not turn left or right.
Stay on the right track.
Stay on the right. What that right track we're talking about here, we have to fully understand what it meant.
On the right
Doing righteous things.
Right.
Doing righteous things. Doing things correctly according to the laws of the Most High. Not like, you thinking positive. You got to think negative. Because positive and negative, righteousness override both. Because you cannot think all positive all day because there's negative involved. Right? You're gonna be one sidetrack. As soon as somebody says something, you paranoid, oh man, that's negative. Right? But if you over that, you know that life is made up of positive and negative. Right? That's not your concern. Your concern is righteousness. Right. Because what you think or what we may think is positive, somebody might think is negative. Somebody we think is negative, somebody might think is positive.
Okay.
So if you're fighting between positive and negative,
You're in trouble.
You're in trouble. You just gotta focus on what the law says and do it. And then you will have good success. Because there's gonna come a time we're gonna keep a law. In the eyes of some people, that's negative. Right?
Right.
But in the eyes of the Most High, we follow commandments. Regardless of what somebody think, I'm following the Most High's commandment. That you stay out of trouble of positive and negative.
Right. Be on the right track.
Right. When I say be on the right track, mean righteousness. Keep the commandments. Because somebody might think it's positive or negative. So you want to make sure you may know what you're talking about, but for people out there who don't know the righteousness of the Most High, they might think you're talking about something different. Get it? Is do righteous things according to the scripture. Keep the commandment of God.
And then I'll cover them.
Exactly. It'll cover both the negative and positive.
Mm-hmm.
Because even the Most High says, I make good and created evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. But everything is done for its purpose. The negative and the positive. Right? But the Most High is all righteous. He used both for his purpose. Right? Even the wicked, he uses it in the day of evil.
Right.
Everything is under his control.
Right.
So that's why we got to think righteousness. Righteously.
Righteousness, positive and negative.
Right. You know, thinking positive can get you but so far until somebody tick you off. You know? So you can think positive all you want and somebody come in and do the wrong action, do some action to you. Now all that positivity went out the window. But if you're thinking righteously, you will judge the situation and say, you know what? I'm going to do the right thing. You take on the law and then you make the decision based on the instruction given to us by the Most High. Okay, verse 14 now.
Back into
Deuteronomy. Behold, the heaven in the heaven. Behold, the heaven in the heaven of heavens is the Lord thy God. Behold, the heaven in the heaven of heavens is the Lord thy God. The earth also with all that therein is. What are we saying here? Powerful scripture right there. What are we talking about?
belongs to the Most High.
Everything belongs to the Most High. Everything belongs to the Most High. So if you want to know everything, you got to come here. Contains all. That's where it's at.
A lot of people don't, a lot of people out there in the streets, you know, I mean, you know, they predicted, they saying this, they that, because they listen to a lot of hogwash.
Yeah,
But right here is where you come, you learn.
that's it.
This is where the heaven's at.
Yeah, that's it. That's where it's at. That's where it's all at. That's where the buck stops. After we done wilding out there in all the religion and learning all kinds of doctrine, that's where the buck stops here. Should be more people, right?
We have to go out and get them. We got to go fishing.
We gotta go fishing. That's where it's at. Right? So it's for the Most High. Anything that's in heaven, in heavens, where the Most High is, everything for him, including things here.
Right. Control it all.
So if you see somebody come flock with a little bit of money here and there and say he's rich, he's that, he just doesn't know. Everything belongs to the Most High. His life, his soul belongs to the Most High. At any minute, he can take it away just like that. Right? Any minute, any time of day, according to his calling, he'll take you out just like that. Right? It says also, it said the earth also with all that therein is. Everything on earth, from the little dust to the skyscrapers, to the moving animals, to mankind, all belongs to the Most High. Right? Move on. Verse 15. Only the Lord had a delight. As a matter of fact, before we move on from 14, let's go to Nehemiah 9 and 6. And Gabor, I want you to read that once you have it. Nehemiah 9 and verse 6. Nehemiah 9 and verse 6.
Done.
All right, Nehemiah 9 and 6. Thou, even thou, art Lord alone. Thou hast made heaven, the heaven of heavens, with all their hosts, the earth, and all things that are therein, the seas, and all that is therein, and thou preservest them all, and the host of heaven worshipeth thee. Wow, that's strong.
Read it again.
It is true.
Thou, even thou, art Lord alone. Thou hast made heaven, the heaven of heavens, with all their hosts, the earth, and all things that are therein, the seas, and all that is therein. And thou preservest them all, and the host of heaven worshipeth thee. That's deep. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's deep.
So who got the power? I got the power. Who got the power?
Most High got
That's
all
it.
the power.
Who got the riches?
Most High got all the riches.
Most High got all the riches. Who's the richest man?
Most High.
Who he give it to?
Those who do the right thing.
Those who do the right thing. Through who?
Yahushua.
Through Yahushua. So your Yahushua is the outside. The Mosai is the how can I say that? Is the master rich man. Yahushua is the richest of all. So what's up with Bill Gates? Is Bill Gates rich? I give him that. He has a little wealth here, a little money here on earth, temporary. Right?
Who made Bill Gates rich?
Who made Bill Gates rich? Mosai. Through the laws that we broke, Bill Gates become rich. Right? So now say I got the power, the Mosai got the power. So once we understand that, we understand who we are in the sight of the Mosai, there's no mistaken identity going on here. And that's always been our problem. When we lost, we don't know who we are. We have lost identity. And when we have lost identity, we don't know our sense of worth. We don't know what we're worth. I think with some Negroes, Afro-American, African-American, Haitian, Jamaican, Puerto Rican, right? So we think those are things, those are names that we think we are. But once we know now we are the children of Israel and we know we are the chosen, the special people of the Most High, then we got to act it out. You got to use the law and act it out. If we don't know, that's a different story. But if we know, we gotta act like it.
We gotta perform it.
You gotta perform it. We gotta perform it. Wherever we are, in whatever position we are, we gotta perform it.
Right.
You know what I mean? We gotta perform it with no excuses. You got it from now on, going forward, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna act differently.
Right. Make your mind, you're gonna do it.
That's it. Let's go to because when we were in the world and did not know any better, we were acting in ignorance. That was a different story. But now, there's no excuse. Let's go to Psalm 24:1. You can read that, Patak, once you have it. Last night we talked about having a purpose, know our purpose, know what we're here for, our existence. Those are the very little things that we should know that we don't know, that keep us even with knowing that we are the children of the Most High, that we're not performing it.
You have it, Kabar? Psalms 24:1. A song of David. The earth is the Lord, the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein.
Okay. The earth is the Lord in the fullness. Not just a little bit, not just a little portion. Everything in it is the Lord in its fullness. And everybody that dwelt therein. Everybody that dwelt therein, the Israelites, Esau, the Chinese, the Arab, everybody's the Most High. He knows everybody. He knows everybody's move.
Right.
He knows how he created them to move.
Right.
Psalm 115 and 16. Psalm 115 and 16. So once we know these things, as Israelite, we should not fall under the idea that we are being controlled by Esau. In ignorance, yes. The majority of people are locked up in their head. They lock themselves up because they're not using the keys, right? They lock themselves out of the kingdom. Because the keys is right there, but they're not using it to open heaven, right? But Psalm 115 and 16. The Lord determines if we live a locked up life or a free life.
16 and 16.
115, Psalm 115 and 16. In verse 16. You could read that once you have it. Once we don't know the law, we don't have the keys, we lost, we slaves. But once we have the law, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So we can't be acting like we locked up in the head once we have the key, once we got the keys. I'm a majority, we're not in our kingdom. There are things that we won't be able to do. But as far as the mentality, we shouldn't be locked up in the head.
Psalms 115 and 16. The heaven, even the heavens are the Lord, but the earth has been given to the children of the men.
Read it again. Psalm 115 and 16.
The heavens, even the heavens are the Lord's, but the earth has he given to the children of men.
Right. Right now, it's given to the children of men, right?
Right.
So what the children of men were supposed to do? Tend it, dress it, keep it, cultivate it, and keep it. And when the husbandmen come, give it back even better as he gave it to you, right? So what we did, we destroy it. We destroy it. You know who destroyed it? Who destroyed Patak?
Israelite.
The Israelite destroyed it.
Destroy what, the earth?
Yes.
Something heathens destroy.
How we destroy it? You know how we destroy it?
By letting the heathens take over.
Exactly.
Not keeping our law, statutes, commandments, the heathens took it.
Right.
And then they destroyed it.
Right.
They destroyed it.
Who the law was given to?
Israelite.
To do what?
Follow.
To follow and to teach them the right way to follow, to keep it.
They messed up themselves.
We messed up, so we cannot expect a wicked to be running the earth right.
Right. So the wicked doing it the way they want to do it.
Exactly. Until we get back in line and doing the right thing and everything just overthrow,
Right.
and then we start keeping it.
Everything
But if we spend our time focusing on how the earth is being destroyed and not looking at ourselves, who was supposed to be the teachers, we making the mistake again. Psalm 115:16. We finished that, right?
Right.
All right, so let's move on. Verse 15. Verse 15 now in Deuteronomy. You know what I mean? On righteousness, a little bit of the righteousness, that's all we need. Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 15.
Right.
Only the Lord had the delight in only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers, even you above all people, as it is this day. So which means the Most High shows us above all people,
Right.
as it is this day, meaning at this present time, we're still the chosen people.
Right. He said it.
Above all,
Right.
this day.
Right on now.
Right? As it is this day. We are the leaders. We are the leaders. But we are supposed to act like leaders. Because when you are a leader and a righteous leader, people will try to get rid of you. They can't. They can't. Because you become so valuable, they just running after you. They want you around. What's the scripture? You remember that scripture? Like they're gonna run and hold you. They wanna follow you. They wanna follow the Israelites.
Because they were God.
Right. When we in our right mind as leaders, people gonna follow us. But right now, we're not worthy to be followed in this mindset that we have, unrighteous mindset that we have. We're not worthy to be followed.
So it'll take some time.
Right. And it's working. You know. Verse 16. I mean, inevitably, it's happening. It's happening. Circumcise for the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. Right there. Foreskin of our heart, or for our mind. What's that? We sick in the head. When the Most High said, go possess the land, the Most High know we have fear in us. In order to heal that fear from our head is to make us step to the enemy. By trusting him and step to the enemy. Verse 17. For the Lord God is God of gods. For the Lord God is, see right here? It says, for the Lord God is God. Do you have a capital letter for both those gods? Let me know if that's what you got.
Capital letter, yeah.
Both, right? Both two gods.
Both
That's what you got, good boy?
Yeah, it says, for the Lord your God,
Your God,
Is God.
is God, capital,
of little God.
of gods, little gods.
Of little God. Right.
The power, your power, is power
Right.
of those little
Of
powers.
little God. So just like the Ten Commandments, where he said, Moses, Pharaoh, he bowed his head down.
Right, right,
That's what he said.
Right, that was Starlight, wasn't
right,
it?
right,
Yeah. He
Right.
bowed his head
He
down.
couldn't do nothing else.
Right.
God destroyed this
right,
guy
He
right,
destroyed him
and his
anyway.
people.
right.
Right. He destroyed all his people. And then he's sitting in the chariot talking about, your God. His God.
Is God. So that's exactly what he's repeating right there. So your God is God.
Yep. And bowed his head down.
He's the real guy. He's the most powerful guy.
Right.
He realized
He
that
reenacted
he
that.
went through all that. He realized that was the real
Who
God.
was
That's
that?
it.
Your brother?
Yeah.
Mhm. So that's exactly what this is right there. He said, your God is God of gods. Those little gods.
He destroyed this whole army.
Yeah, I know.
He couldn't do nothing but bow down at that point.
And check this out. In lords, right?
Right.
Of little lords. Big lords, little lords.
Yep. That's what he said.
And great God, right?
Right.
A mighty and terrible, which regardeth no persons, right?
Right.
Nor taketh rewards. You can bribe him.
Can't rob
Can't bribe him.
him. And he don't look at you because of what you got.
Right.
Look at your heart. Listen to your heart.
Exactly.
Right. Yep. That's what he said.
Okay. Verse 18. He do execute the judgment of the fatherless and widow, and loveth the stranger, and giving him food and raiment. 19. Love ye therefore the stranger, for ye were stranger in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God. You see, that's a commandment right there.
Right.
See that commandment right there? What is it talking about here? Let's stop there.
Bow down to the Lord thy God. Serve him.
The stranger right there, that could be anybody.
Yeah. But that's a commandment.
That's a commandment.
To love the stranger.
Read it again.
Serve him. It said, love ye the stranger for ye the land of Egypt. You shall fear the Lord thy God. And serve him. And you shall be plead and swear by his name to do the right thing.
So what are we talking about here? Let's get that clear.
Which word?
For love ye therefore the stranger, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God, him shalt thou serve, and to him shalt thou cleave and swear by his name. So what stranger are we talking about here?
Well, if you look at it like Egypt, you had
Stranger with us.
Egypt wasn't your brother, and you was a stranger in the land of Egypt. So somebody coming from somewhere else into your country, it seems that he's saying love them.
What do you
The
say?
stranger was us in Egypt. Like we wasn't a stranger. And he brought us out of the land of Egypt. That we
shall love the stranger of our nation.
Of our nation.
Of our nation, because you see how strangers are treated in Egypt, right? When we were strangers, you see how they treat us?
Right.
Would you want to treat somebody of Israel that don't know the truth? Right? That's not upholding the truth, they lost.
Right.
Right? Would you treat them the same way you were treated?
But those weren't our people.
Right, they weren't our people, right? They weren't our people.
Right.
You see how people who are not Israel, how they treat strangers.
Right.
But us, even people who are our brothers, we should not be treating our people the same way we were being treated in Egypt. Just like when we say, love thy neighbor as you love thyself,
Right.
ye men of Israel, the neighbor is the people of your nation.
Okay.
But what is the stranger?
The stranger here that we're talking about here is stranger of our people.
Now, who might that be?
Who might that be? In Romans, when Paul's speaking, were ye not strangers? Going away with your with your idols?
Well, he's talking about our own people.
Right.
Lost.
Right. Our own people that's lost.
But is that what they talking about here? Because they mentioned you being in Egypt, which is not our Egyptians weren't our people.
Right. Now check this out. The Egyptians weren't our people. You see how they treat us, right?
Right.
Right.
Don't learn from them to treat stranger of our people the same way the strangers treat us. Don't do the thing that they do. You cannot learn how to treat people right from them. I mean, to treat people of your stranger of your nation the same way. Don't learn from them. Learn from the scriptures in righteousness how to treat your people, even those who are not. For example, when we were in Jerusalem, Judah and Levi, what did Yahushua say? Sheep that is not part of my fold, right? Would those be considered strangers?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Those who follow after strange doctrine who don't consider themselves as Israelite right now. For example,
That are us.
that are us. For example, when we go out there in the street and teach, we know the law. We know we're Israelite. Should we be treating people who don't know that they are Israelite the same way they were being treated in Egypt, like the strangers treat them? You get it?
I understand that part, but the reference is in Egypt. Originally, we was the strangers. When we came to Egypt, we were the strangers.
Right. Right. We were strangers in Egypt. So you see how those strangers treat our people in Egypt as strangers.
First of all, we was real cool when we first went over there. We went in there and welcomed.
Right.
They welcomed us in there for a couple hundred years.
Right.
And then they got jealous of us because we kept multiplying.
Right.
But originally, we was treated well there.
Then after that, and after that, what happened?
What's that?
After that, what happened? Where we continue to be treated well?
No.
So why are we not being treated well continuously?
Because we were multiplying.
Regardless, why they don't continue to treat us correctly? If what they were doing was righteous, they should continue. You can't be changing left and right, right? Regardless of if we're multiplying, as if we're not being wicked, you should continue to treat us the same.
The same way.
Well, jealousy set in.
They was wicked.
So we became them.
Right?
So jealousy set in on them. That's when they began to treat us hard.
So was that wicked or righteous?
That was wicked.
Okay, then. So we don't want to be treated, we don't want to treat our people out there who are considered strangers and Gentiles, right? Because they're not keeping the laws of the Most High. So we don't want to treat them the same way because we know better. We know better. We shouldn't be acting like the heathen. We know better as Israelite. We shouldn't treating our people who are being like strangers out there the same way the Gentile would be treating us, or the way we were treated in Egypt. Love thy brother or love thy neighbor is within our nation. Not going outside of our nation and love the other nation. Even in the law, there's ways to treat the strangers. There's way to deal with the strangers. This is in the law.
When we say those strangers, we're talking about real strangers.
There's ways to treat the strangers or to deal with those strangers.
Right.
All right? Let me see what scriptures we can link up here on this verse. Verse 17, right?
19.
19.
No, it's 18.
Deuteronomy 18. 10 and 18.
Hold on. Psalm. Make sure that's right. Okay. Let's go to Psalm. Psalm 146 in verse 9. And you can read that, Gabar, once you have it.
Psalm 146.
In verse 9.
It says, preserveth the strangers, he relieveth the fatherless and widow, but the way of the wicked he turneth upside down.
Who's that stranger right there? He preserved who? Who the Lord preserve? Who the Lord preserve?
The strangers.
No, who the Lord preserves?
Israel.
Then the Lord preserved Israel from being destroyed?
Right.
Why were we strangers? Why you call us strangers?
Because we didn't know him.
We didn't know him. Once you don't know the Most High, you're a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're not keeping his laws, you like a stranger.
You're a stranger.
Because you behaving in a way that I don't even know you, man. Is that you that's doing this? Yo,
I don't know you.
I don't know you. Who you have become? Yo, that's not, sometimes you say, oh man, that's not Patak. Why he's acting like that? That's not Patak, I know. Right? He's like a stranger. That's not the Patak I know. Man, something must have got into him.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
He preserve us. How he preserve us? Wasn't he gonna destroy us?
He was going to destroy us.
And then what he did?
He gave us a break.
He preserved us. He gave us a break. He preserved the strangers.
He didn't know us.
Not the way he was acting.
Yeah, we didn't know us. We didn't know him.
You know him. See, everything would happen for the good for Moses.
Right, I mean, it's a saying. Musa know us, but the way we were acting is like he don't know us.
He didn't know it.
Right, we were strangers to him.
Moses bowed down.
Then he preserved us.
Very
So the Lord preserveth the strangers, he relieveth the fatherless and widows, but the wicked he turneth upside down. The way of the wicked he turneth upside down. The Hanakims. The Hanakims, right? He turned them upside down because they were wicked. As the nation, they created, if we not right, their way of wickedness will excel. We will see the height of wickedness. Right. We will see the height of their wickedness because the righteous men are not teaching. The righteous people are not in their proper place. Right? So the Lord preserveth the strangers, he relieveth the fatherless and widows, but the way of the wicked he turneth upside down. And read 10. Goodbye. Read verse 10.
The Lord shall reign forever, even thy God, O Zion, unto all generations. Praise ye the Lord.
Okay. This right here, going to the verse up there, this is referring to Zion. He's gonna preserve, the Lord reign forever, even God of Zion, O Zion. He's speaking to us, who were once strangers, alienated from the statutes and commandments of God. We become alien. Like they say, we become alienated. Far away, we move from the laws of God, from his statutes and commandments. We become strangers. And then he preserves us. Why? Because he promised that he would do so. Right. But the wicked, he destroyed. The wicked, the wicked, he destroyed them. But for his people who are strangers, not wicked, they acting wicked, right? They do wicked deed, but they are not wicked. Right? We behaving like the wicked, so we become strangers. So let's go back and finish up in Deuteronomy. So that does that answer your question about the strangers?
I'm still a little bit kind of confused on it because you referencing, they actually referencing us being strangers in Egypt. The Egyptians weren't us.
Right. The Egyptians weren't us, right?
Right.
But they treat us harshly.
Right.
Right?
Not at first.
Regardless, we were in captivity in Egypt. Out of majority, they treat us wrong. Out of majority. They said, based on that learning, based on being strangers, you don't want to be treated like the Egyptians treat you. You don't want to treat people of your nation just as we were treated in Egypt because we were strangers and we see our strangers, how they treat strangers. But when it comes to our people, right, who are acting like strangers, don't treat them the same way that you were treated in Egypt. Because the Most High, you see how the Most High treat you as strangers when you alienate from them, he still preserve you. Take on the same way as stranger of your nation, people that who are not keeping the laws of God. Right? So to finish it, that's why you mentioned Zion at the end, to show you the Most High will always reign in Zion. All right? So if we're paying attention, as soon as there's a little thing there that's on the scripture that just jump just to reconfirm what we're talking about. It's always mentioned Zion or Israel. Write that in there around that same verse or another verse to connect it to match what he's saying, just in case if there's any doubt. All right, so let's go back to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 10.
19, 18,
Right? And keep in mind, we're not ourselves as a nation. Why would the Most High go and tell us to go love the other nation? We don't even know how to really properly love ourselves.
and 16 or 18.
All right, verse 19. Love ye therefore the stranger, for ye were stranger in the land of Egypt. So ye were a stranger in the land of Egypt, right? It's like it's twofold, right? Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God, right? And keep in mind when I say twofold, right? How we were twofold stranger in Egypt. How we were strangers 2 times. How were we stranger 2 times in Egypt? Let me explain it. How were we strangers twice in Egypt?
Well, I guess the first time they didn't know who Joseph was. Yeah, the first time they didn't know who Joseph was. He was a stranger then. And you was always a stranger in Egypt because you were an Egyptian.
Now check this out, right? We were stranger, and we got to the Egyptians. How did we go to captivity in Egypt anyway? How we ended up in captivity in Egypt?
Because we sold Joseph into captivity.
Right. But overall, how were we become captive? How did the Egyptian get us to be slaves?
Because we weren't Egyptians.
Because we broke the laws of the Most High. We broke the laws of the Most High and they took us into captivity, right?
Well, when does it say that?
How we always go into captivity? How do a nation... Right. How do a nation always take us into captivity?
It's normally punishment when we go into captivity. I don't see where we did some type of sin to go into that. It says that those people were jealous of us and they took us in there. He put us in.
Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter.
The way I understand it, he put us in there because he wanted to show the world the power of his strength and power. That's why he put us in. I I don't think it had nothing to do with us sinning.
So when we were in Egypt, we weren't sinning?
It don't say. It says that he did that to show the world his power.
So let's go to Deuteronomy.
This is afterwards. This is afterwards. This is not.
And as it was prophesied again in before we came to captivity here, why we always go into captivity? Why a nation always take over us?
Because we're not following the law,
Because
statutes, and commandments.
Huh?
Disobedience.
When we disobedient,
Then we get chastised.
we get chastised. So when we went to Egypt in slavery, was it because of disobedience to the Most High? That's how they take us over?
Yeah.
If we keeping the laws of the Most High, will we be going into captivity?
Don't be going
Not
right.
according to Deuteronomy 28.
Right thing. We came out of Egypt doing the right thing. Was in Egypt doing the wrong thing.
Because it was our time.
Deuteronomy 28.
We cried to the Lord to come out of there. We did.
Let's cry to the Most High. When we always cry to the Most High
Always
after we realize that we mess up.
We were sent a deliverer. We always cry. Most High said, they cried so much, he said, I gotta send them a deliverer.
All right, so give me 1 second. Good. All right. Let's go to Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 1.
It tells you that the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and then that's when he sent them into bondage or something. It don't say nothing like that about them being in bondage when they was in Egypt. It just say that he wanted to show the world his power. So he put us in Egypt and brought us out with a mighty hand because he wanted to show the world how powerful he was. He was the real God. The whole world, when we came out of Egypt, the whole world was afraid of us. That's what he wanted.
Now, you said when we came out of the whole world was afraid of us?
Yeah, when we get, they was afraid of God. They
Right.
was afraid of us because of our God.
Right.
So that's what he put us in Egypt for, to show his power to the world. I guess at that time, Egypt was the mightiest people on the planet at that time.
No, no. What I'm saying is the very reason why we go into captivity every time
Right.
is because we break the laws of the Most High.
I agree with you.
In Egypt, it wasn't any different.
Okay.
We went into Egypt because we broke off the law of the Most High. And then we cried to the Most High, and the Most High, out of mercy, he came and delivered us.
Right.
The Most High hit us over every time.
Okay, yeah, based on Deuteronomy 28, you said.
Right. The nations, they never just, the Most High don't just hit us over, right? We handed ourselves over to wickedness by not keeping the laws of the Most High.
And I won't argue with you on that. We probably was, but don't say that. It don't say we was wicked then. It just says that Egyptians, we begin to outnumber the Egyptians and they became jealous of us. And it don't say that we was acting wickedly. It just says we begin.
What happened is a chain reaction. We always go into captivity. For example, in 70 AD, right? Let's take an example. In 70 AD, what happened in 70 AD? What were we doing in the land of Jerusalem in 70 AD?
Just after Christ died, right?
Right. So what happened to us in 70 AD when we left Jerusalem? Why did the Most High kick us out of the land?
Because we weren't doing the law. We weren't following the law like we were supposed to.
Right. And then we go and migrate to the continent, what they call Africa today.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So when we were there, how they managed to take us into captivity again?
Well,
because we were being wicked.
Yeah, but we were running from the captivity that they tried to get us when we was in the holy city.
Right.
We was already on the run. When we was in Africa, we was hiding.
Right.
We was never out of captivity. We was hiding.
So we were still in captivity. Right. Because the captivity is not when you actually is in captivity from sin, right?
That too, yeah.
So even when we were in Egypt, we were acting right.
Right.
So that's captivity. So the nation will take us over because we're not doing right by the Most High. That's always the reason why we go into captivity over and over as a nation.
Based on 28, Deuteronomy 28, I agree with you.
Right.
But what I'm saying, there's no prior record of them saying that because we were sinning is why the Egyptians over and put us in, made us slaves. They don't say that. That's all I'm saying. But based on 28, the only time we go into slavery is when we don't follow law, statute, and commandments. Based on what he said then, you can say.
All right, we're going to get all the scriptures on that. We're going to close up this and then we're going to have a class and go over that.
Okay.
All right? All right, so let's go to Deuteronomy. Back to Deuteronomy, the 10th chapter. All right, and what verse we on? 19. Love ye therefore the stranger, for you are a stranger in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God, him shalt thou serve, and to him shalt thou cleave and swear by his name. He is thy praise, and he is thy God, and have done for thee this great and terrible things which thine eyes have seen. Thy fathers went down into Egypt with 70 persons, and now the Lord thy God have made thee as the stars of heaven for multitude. All right, so this is how the Most High get us as the sand of the sea. Right now we become the sand of the sea. We multiply as a nation. We multiply so great as a nation, we become like a sand of the sea. And that's pretty much what it's saying here in verse 22. All right. So let's go to Genesis 46 and 27. Genesis 26 and verse 27.
You said 27?
Genesis 46, 46. And verse 27. Mm-hmm. It says, and the sons of Joseph, which were born him in Egypt, were 2 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob, which came into Egypt, were 70. All right. All right. So that pretty much conclude chapter 10. And the next reading will be John chapter 4 and chapter 5. All right, John chapter 4 and chapter 5. So with that, we're going to say stay tuned for the closing prayer. Have a happy rest of the Sabbath. All right, and class will be next Tuesday. So stay tuned for the closing prayer. John chapter 4 and 5.
John chapter 4 and 5.
Right, for next reading. Come on. Barakta Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ashura, Natalanawa, Par Yagapan Tuala Amun, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Af Yasha'ala. English translation: Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that give to us the sweet savor. Thank you, so be it, to Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai with Israel. Sorry. So this one should have been, Blessed are Yahweh in the name of Yahushai that gives to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you. So be it, to Yahweh in the name of Yahushai with Israel. All right. I mad upon you, are you wash them? Stand and face Jerusalem. Ending prayer. Yahweh. Yahushai. Babakushai. Shomai. Nawa. Aitha. Yamyan. Aitha. Shalat. Micah Allah. Walalahayim. Natazodakim. Shemo Aya. Barak. Wapa. Magun. Wakaziak. Banya. Yasha Allah. Wasalat. Nawa. Rabiam. Kakama. Rabiam. Da'if. Bayana. Rabiam. Sabulanwas. Rabiam. Amawan. Rabiam. Aqua. Rabiam. Ahabiam. Rabiam. Agana. Wakanaya. Wasalat. Ko. Kata Yemna. La Akim. Wayasha Allah. Tamyad. Bai Walam. Ba'asham. Yahushai. The water. Aman. English translation. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please listen to us now. Right now, send Michael and the righteous powers and angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel, and send to us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, much love, much spiritual protection, and forgive us all our sins for the brothers and sisters in Israel, always and forever. In the name of Yahushai, thank you, so be it. The four corners prayer. Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Barak Nawa, Wayasha Allah, Bafi Suparium, Shema, Yashir Allah, Yahweh, Allah Hainawa, Yahweh, Achad. All right, Shalom, Yashir Allah. Have a blessed week. Peace.
Shalom.
Shalom.
All right. Israel.